And therefore the brain, when it is pursuing these forms and many other forms of pleasure, it must inevitably become small, limited, narrow. And probably unconsciously realizing this, one seeks different forms of entertainment, a release through sex, through different kinds of fulfillment and so on. Right? Please observe it in yourself. You're not listening to me, you're listening to yourself, your own activity of daily life. And if you observe, your brain is occupied all day with something or other. Chattering, talking, endlessly. You follow? That's going on. Like a machine that never stops. And so the brain is gradually becoming, wearing itself out. And it's going to be inactive if the computer is going to take place. You follow all the things computer will do. So, why does man, human being, caught in this perpetual pursuit of pleasure? Why? Please, find out, let's find out. Is it because he's so utterly lonely? Escape from that sense of isolation. Is it that he has been from childhood conditioned to this? Is it because that thought, creating the image of pleasure and pursuing it? You follow? So can we ask together whether thought is the source of pleasure? Right? You understand? Is it? That is, one has had some kind of pleasure, either eating very tasty food, sexual, or the sense of being flattered and so on, so on. Thought has, or rather, brain has registered it. I didn't know there were so many trains. These incidents which have brought about pleasure have been recorded in the brain. And the remembrance of that pleasure of yesterday or last week, that remembrance is the movement of thought. Right? And so thought is the movement of pleasure. Right? Right? Thought has registered that incident, pleasurable, exciting, worthwhile to remember, and is stored, held, attached. And thought projects in the future and pursues it. Right? So, the question there is, why does thought or memory of an incident that's over, finished, carry on? Is that part of our occupation? You understand? A man who wants money, power, position is perpetually occupied with it. Perhaps similarly, the brain is occupied with this question of remembrance of something of week ago which gave great pleasure, being held in the brain, and thought projects future pleasure and pursues it. This is the repetition of pleasure, which is the movement of thought, and therefore limited. Right? I wonder if we see this. And therefore, the brain can never function wholly. It can only function partially. Now, the next question that arises, what am I to do? If this is the pattern of thought, how can thought be stopped? Or how can the brain not register that incident of yesterday which gave me delight? Right? That's the obvious question. Right? Now, why do you put such a question? Just investigate it. Why? Is it because you want to escape from the movement of pleasure, and that very escape is another form of pleasure? You understand what I'm saying? Right? Whereas if you say, look, this is a fact, right? The fact is the incident which gave great delight, pleasure, excitement. And the fact is over. It's not a living thing of that which happened a week ago. It was not a living, it was a living thing then, but now it's not. Right? Can you finish yesterday, last week's pleasure, entertainment, excitement? Finished, end it. Not carry it over. It's not how to end it, it's not how to stop it, but just see the fact how the brain is operating, how thought is operating. If one is aware of that, thought itself will come to an end. That is the registering of last